संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मीरारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। पूज्य माँ भगवती, पूज्य Sri Arvind, you all who are present here and those who are listening to this from distance online are all chosen souls of the Mother. The fortunate moment that we are enjoying and make ourselves to be fortunate enough to participate in this new adventure of consciousness accomplished by the Mother in the absence of Sri Aurobindo's physical presence there in Pondicherry. The remarkable dimension that is to be understood by us, that Mother accomplished her pilgrimage to the supramental, final, ultimate realization at three different levels. One individual, second universal, and third cosmic. Three in one. So this is some sort of Triveni Sangam of three different layers of consciousness and three different layers of the supreme consciousness here on the earth for the first time ever in the history of sadhana, yoga and spirituality. So Satprem has registered all certain dimensions of Mother's sadhana that was depicted before that, well in advance, by Sri Aurobindo as Yoga of Savitri. So unless and until you can compare the Yoga of Savitri prior to the conquest of death, you can compare this Yoga of Mother that is practically accomplished by one and one human being, and that is Satprem. So Satprem is a representative of the humanity and Mother is a representative of Aditi Bhagavati. So it is a dialogue between Aditi, World Mother, and a ever aspirant human soul, that is Satprem. So where lies the total and the real connotation of the name of Satprem? Satprem, lover of truth, lover of totality, lover of truth consciousness in totality, and lover of the Supreme. This is what we are supposed to do. We must train our mind in such a way that our mind cannot allow any foreign thought to its screen accepting the thought of the Mother, thought of the divine Leela, thought of the divine accomplishment. Divine accomplishment in our Ved and scriptures considered to be divine Leela. And Leela is meant for pleasure, joy, bliss, Anand, Satchidanand, Brahmanand, Paramanand, Akhandanand, Nityanand, Sahajanand. These all are different dimensions of the experience of the divine on the earth. And you can very well imagine the experience of Satprem continuously for 23 years. It's not the question of only day, accidentally, casually. It is continuously for 23 years Satprem contacted mother invariably and learnt a lot direct from the horse's mouth. So there is nobody in between to interpret nor to intervene. And mother recorded all these things. So this is the most document registration of the divine colloquial, similar to as I presented before you and I put up before you for your contemplation, that similar to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Lord was speaking and Arjun was listening to it. Here Jagdamba was speaking and disciple was listening to it. This is mind of the cells. This was not even dictated by Sri Aurobindo to mother. This was simply given assignment to mother. That is what also we have discussed in the morning. So what is the assignment given to us is our accountability of this present birth. As we have been drawn nearer to the mother, so it is not merely an accidental dragging into a new orbit, but our birth is being remolded into new next birth. Real Dvijatva that we are going to attain in this birth if we totally offered our mental consciousness to the physically manifested divine consciousness in this birth. So total surrender without reservation was the final motto, final goal, final terminus and a target. But what is to be offered to the divine? See, divine is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. What is to be offered? Our total Prakriti, our entire trinity of physical mind, vital mind, physicality, vitality and mentality. But through what? Through mind. Simply our gesture of surrender will not do. Our sense of surrender, our experience of surrender, our memory of surrender, our constant awareness of surrender to the divine, that becomes our sadhana for the transformation of our cells into our body. Our eyes may not get registration of it, our mind also cannot take cognizance of it, our ears and gnanendriya and karmendriya will not take note of it, makes matters little. Our psychic can take note of it, how our mind has already surrendered to the divine, and now psychic was given scope and room for its own Leela in this body of the Panchamahabhut. That is what Mother says. If you want to experience the body, you must live in the body. That is the real life in the body. Life is not meant for, body is not given for eating, drinking, getting married, enjoying and moving here, there and everywhere just like a vagabond. It's a meaning in each and every action that is provided to us by the divine. We must have the real cognizance, cause of our action. If it is not surrender, if it is not exclusively offered to the divine, that life tantamounts to be a wastage. It is a wastage. And if chance is given to us and still we waste it, becomes a criminal wastage on our part. If we are bit aware, bit conscious, then the meaning of this human body is also well explained to Satprem, to be transmitted to the entire humanity in future, and that is what Satprem did this. Every cell of the body has to be surrendered to the divine. Then cell can get itself awakened. And when cell awakens itself, the very prayer of the cell is, I am immortal, I am immortal, I am immortal. Our mind has to listen to his master's voice. Cell, mind of the cell is really a master of our materialized mind, materialized mental consciousness. Mind word is common, but cellular mind is reality, and our mind is a secondary mind, operative mind, functioning mind, and mother says it, a materialized mind. Mind that is working in the matter of the body, and mind, cellular mind, that is the mind of light, that is the supramental hidden, is in the atom of the body, that is cell, that is pure, perfect, infinite, immortal and divine. And mother is there to bridge our human mind with the God's mind, bridging the gulf between man's mind and the mind of the gods. That is cellular transformation. That is what I explained to you in the morning. That is why the ancient sages, saints did not know what to do with their body. They left it. They did not travel inside the body. They did not enter into the core of the body. They did not enter into the nucleus of the body, and with the result they had accepted the apparent fact that their body is naswant, is mortal. जीर्णानि वासांसि यथा विहाय भस्मीभूतस्य देहस्य पुनरागमनं कुतः. So Sri Aurobindo offered his yoga, his experience to the mother with transmission of the supreme energy of supramental that Sri Aurobindo received for the first time on his body, and that was transmitted to the mother, and mother banking upon the energy transmitted to her for her further yoga, further sadhana, yoga of descent. King Ashwapati's yoga is the yoga of ascent, and Savitri's yoga is a yoga of descent. So it is the yoga of descent that can accomplish the totality of this yoga, totality of the surrender, and ultimately it can result into the conquest of death. So death is conquered is not imagination. Death is conquered is de novo truth, the truth which has not been up till now apparently manifested for the entire existence. Individual conquest over death are there. There are hundreds of examples as such, but not for the entire humanity. This death conquered by mother in her room before Satprem is for entire humanity. And that is the true and genuine Leela over and above the Leela of Lord Krishna in presented in Srimad Bhagavat. And that is why Savitri is Satyugi Bhagavat. That is what we have seen. Now, this is what the Leela of our body, where we must accomplish the mission assigned to our body by the divine. Then the purpose of our birth is served. There is such a long way to go. To say something and to understand and to digest something is very easy, but to put this dictum into practice is a tremendously powerful, apparently impossible adventure, but not impossible. Our mind has to be convinced before it starts endeavoring this, before it starts this adventure. And who can convince our mind? It is not the mind that can convince the mind. It is our psychic that can convince the mind. So our psychic should be so awakened that without even feeling it, throughout the life, the moment that has been given to us to get our psychic first of all awakened, that is what Mother did. Mother did awaken her psychic first, and thereafter she could feel the treasure that was transmitted to her as Mind of Light by Sri Aurobindo on 5th of December. And when two things are before Mother, now what is to be done? What course of action should be taken at that time? Banking upon the treasure of supramental nucleus that was transmitted to her with a clear-cut mandate that whatever is left out by me in Savitri has to be performed by you living in this and this only human body. See, this is the reality. Provided if we grasp the root cause of it, then we can understand it very well. There is such a long way to go between the usual state of the body. Usual state of the body appears to be mortal. Usual state of the body as it appears to us is mortal. This almost total unconsciousness we are used to because we are totally unconscious. Whether our body is mortal or not, whether our body is immortal or not, whether our body is like that or not. We are not afraid of death after birth immediately. We are afraid of death in our old age only. Before that old age, before this helplessness, before aging, we cannot understand, we cannot take the serious note of the degeneration of body lifelong. And it is the final and total degeneration of body results into death. If cells are generated, if cells are prevented from being degenerated with the determination, with the light, with the tonic, with the potentiality of psychic, they are immortal and they can feel their immortality living in this apparently manifested mortal body. So our immortality lies in the cell. It does not lie in our apparent Gnanendriya and Karmendriya, apparent organs and apparent apparatus, and that is what Leonardo Vinci also spelt out and drawn in his diagrams. So Sri Aurobindo's psychic could recollect what was left out in his previous birth and how it is to be taken for granted to be the base of this present journey, present pilgrimage, and Sri Aurobindo completed it. This is the way it is. This is the way it is, Mother says. This is the way it is, and the perfect awakening of the consciousness, that is the perfect awakening of the psychic, that is my first stage. What is the beginning of the bridge? What is the very first step of the mother on the bridge that has already been built by her? On the span of this consciousness, it's not the water, It's not the river, nor is the ocean that is to be bridged. Bridging the gulf between man's mind and God's. On this end of the bridge, it is the mind that is a whole and soul entity. On the another end of the bridge, God is there with mind to receive the potentiality and potential willful determined surrender of human mind. So on one end humanity is there, on the another end the creator of humanity is there, and sees the Prakriti, a new Prakriti, Para Prakriti, who is bridging the gulf between man's mind and God's. And the perfect awakening of the consciousness of psychic, the response of all the cells, of all the organs and body's functions, all the cells have to be offered to the divine, all the organs, that is what I told you, Gnanendriya and Karmendriya, they are also to be offered to the divine, and that too with determination, with conscious awakening, not unconsciously. We die, that is unconscious surrender to the divine. This is conscious surrender to the divine. Conscious experience of death is a beginning of immortality. Conscious experience of death is a beginning of immortality. Death is dying. Consciousness is not. Consciousness is made so awakened that it can see the death of the dying body. Later on it is compared with the cocoon of the caterpillar after becoming butterfly. And that is the bridge. That is the real death, where our consciousness could collect anything and everything that is positive, anything and everything that is divine, anything and everything that is part and parcel of consciousness that has to be accepted as base for our future birth. This is the eternal flux of life. Consciousness is the eternal flux of life. And that experience has to be registered by our awakened mind, not chanchal mind, not mobile mind, awakened mind. Uttishtaha jagrataha prapya varan nibudhet. Uttishtaha jagrataha, that is jagrat. Mind has to be jagrat and body has to be uttishtaha. Body has to be prepared for accepting this state of consciousness at the time of giving this body. That is death at will. That is the conquest of death. That is the victory over death. But it includes of all the cells, response of all the cells, Innumerable cells are there in our body where lies the spark of immortality, pure, infinite and divine. That has to be so collected, that has to be so remolded, that has to be so accumulated in a master pattern that it can be the real bridge for all of us. So our Prakriti gets the stage of mother, our Prakriti gets the stage and nature of mother, our Prakriti can get the stage of divinity or divine within us. That is the body, geometry of the body, geography of the body, and that is the cellular entity where we can find out the master key of immortality. And that is the key why soul lived in this body for 90 years, for 100 years. But only experience that is lacking there is the willfulness of mind can register that now my psychic has decided to give up this body, so I must also participate in this programming. Body is to be left out, but the body, which is just like a cocoon, the truth of the body, the true spiritual experiences of the body, the true divine experiences of the body, the true divine outcomes of the body are to be collected by the psychic for the next manifestation, for the next birth, in the form of smruti, in the form of memory, in the form of transparent consciousness. All the cells of all the organs and the body functions, between the two there seem to be a centuries of work. Between these two there is a longer time span of centuries together. Bahunam janmante kaschid mam vetti tatvatah. But that has to be accomplished within a one birth, that is supramental. Why supramental is descended down on the earth? To cut short the time span. Cut short the time span of innumerable births for humanity. Now this work of Sri Aurobindo has to be known by the people who are breathing at this present moment. We have no right to breathe. We have no right to take second breath, first breath, one breath, unless we take due cognizance of this final truth, ultimate truth, the purpose of our life, purpose of our body, and purpose of our living matter. Death is not inevitable, Mother says, and Satprem quotes it. Death is not inevitable. It is an ancient which has always happened until now. It is an accident now, or seems to have always happened, and we have gotten it into our head to conquer and overcome. Let this should be our determination, aspiration, ardent prayer and aspiration, but is accident because we are unaware of it. It is our uncertainty and unawareness that creates accident. If we are awakened, if we are cautious, if we are conscious, then we can charter our route deliberately with our willpower. Accident is the outcome of our unawareness. So death is an accident of our lifelong unawareness. It has become our dead habit, and we could see all the people dying this way, so we are also to die. That is the ultimate truth, but is not the ultimate truth. It is inevitable. So inevitability of death is an accident. A dreadful and gigantic fight against all the laws of nature. If we determine to conquer death, is a fight against the law of nature. All different laws of nature prevalent around us, the grand total of this all different dimensions of the nature is the law of gravity. Everybody will have to come down. Anything that goes up has to come down on the earth. That is the law of gravitation. How far grown up we are, but we'll have to be once again dust. Dust has to be dust once again. That is the law of gravitation. Grand total of all different laws of nature is the law of gravitation, but is accident. is not incident. Let it be a divine event for us. Our soul has come down in human body is a divine event, and that mind is to be so trained up, mind is to be so put into its swadharma that it can register, it can take due cognizance of the leela of psychic. Why soul came into this cage of apparent mortal, is mortal, but the cells are immortal. That is why DNA is immortal. So immortality of DNA is a sound scientific evidence of its immortality. Absolute fearfulness is required. We should get free from the fear of death. Ahar, Nindra, Bhay and Maithun are to be discarded, but logically discarded, determinantly discarded, faithfully discarded, honestly discarded. Body is not meant for it. Body is meant for salvation. The real mystery of salvation lies in the body itself. Real divinity of body lies in itself. It's not somewhere else outside the body. Salvation is in the body itself, is within. So it's not exactly easy, as we believe is not so easy, but it is an adventure. Even individually you have to battle with yourself. Individually you have to battle with yourself. And what battle? The battle that was fought by Sri Aurobindo and battle that was fought by the mother has already been fought, once fought forever. Now we are simply to be blessed to have the prasad of it, outcome of it, fruits of it. If we are prepared to accept it, if we are prepared to see our body, the reality de facto, then we can have the same experience. And that is what the entire very long quotation of agenda quoted by Satprem here, in order to justify that we can conquer death. Death is inevitable, but is accident, and it is a dead habit. It's a habit. We have entertained so frequently all the while throughout the life that it appears to be inevitable to us. It appears to be ultimate truth and ultimate phenomenon of for us, for entire humanity, but is not so. So it even individually you have to battle with yourself, because if you want your physical consciousness to reach a state following physical immortality, you must be so free from everything the present physical consciousness stands for. That is, it must be first of all free from ahar, nindra, bhay and maithun. Then it can be rather on the threshold of having experience of immortality. First of all, let us have the hypothesis of it, that this can be. This is not impossible for us. If we can root out the impossibility, apparent impossibility of it, then we can enter into this new zone of immortality. Everything the present physical consciousness stands for, that it is a battle every second. It is a constant battle. Every feeling, every sensation, every repulsion, everything that makes up the fabric of our physical life must be overcome. All fabrics of our life, the web of our life is to be overcome. So every cell in all our organs must be awakened to its core immortality. That is what Mother did after 50 up to 73. every repulsion, everything that make up the fabric of our physical life must be overcome, transformed and freed of all its habits. Our common routine habits, that is to be suspended, and suspended by our psychic. If psychic can replace our mind, psychic can replace our dead habits too. Psychic can replace our inertia too. Psychic can replace ultimately and finally our death. Fabric of our physical life must be overcome, transformed and freed of all its habits. That means fighting every single second against thousands and millions of adversaries. Death is a great and grand ultimate adversary, and that has to be fought out in such a way that ultimately it is the determinism of our psychic can succeed. That is victory over death.